Hello and welcome. How's everybody doing today? Hi, Janette.
Terrific.
Hi, Lady Lou.
Hi.
Hello.
We're so glad to be here. We have a juicy subject. Not that we didn't have a juicy lady on yesterday, but we've got a fun subject today.
Yes, so I'm Marian LaSalle, and this is the Daily Reset for Success. And this series is all about helping us reset our lives because let's face it, every day something could poke at you, okay? Somebody could make you mad, make you angry, make you sad. Something can happen, out there in the world or even at home, your neighbor, something upsets the status quo, okay?
The apple cart.
Yeah, that apple cart got turned over or you're just in a bad mood and you just need to get reset. That's why we're here, okay? We do this for you. We do this for ourselves, and we're really glad that all of us are here. And today, our wonderful guest is going to be talking about homeschooling. We're just going to have some conversations about it. So if you're in the audience, we're live on YouTube and Facebook. You're more than welcome to ask questions, make comments, keep them clean now, and just join in on this conversation because I think it's really important. We've talked about this one other time, homeschooling, right as the COVID virus thing started going on, and nobody really knew what was going on. But I feel like today we've got a grip on it, a little bit of a grip. Don't you? Yeah. So, Janette, tell us a little bit about why you want to talk about homeschooling today.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. It's such a touchy subject. People that have had no intention of being home schooling their kids are all of a sudden thrown into something that's completely unfamiliar, didn't sign up for this, and then of course the schools are confused, right? They're trying to figure it out. They've got to now have to work with these parents that are confused. The kids are completely in a different space. Like this wasn't a choice, right? It wasn't one of those sit down conversations that you have and say, you know what, maybe homeschooling would be a really good option. And let's explore the possibilities with that and make a conscious choice, right? This is like globally, we've been thrown into this. So, with that, right? I mean, there's some frustration, there's some anger. There's a lot of big emotions that come up with this topic, not just schooling. So, yeah, great time to have a conversation about this. What do we do about this?
I'm very interested in it, and I know Lady Lou is as well. Her nephew, and she can tell you a little bit of story about that. Her nephew is a teacher, and so is his wife, and they have a child. Is she school age or?
Second grade, going into the second grade.
Okay, second grade, okay. And they live out in the country in Montgomery County. And here in the Houston area, it's a little different. It's a different county and different laws and everything. But I think what's happening is the confusion is causing fear because nobody really knows what to do. Even the stores, I was talking to you ladies about this earlier, they don't know whether to fill up their stores with school clothes or go in a different direction because let's face it, if you're just going to be on camera, that's different than going out and buying the newest shoe to show off at school, right? Everybody's in a little fear right now.
Yeah, no one's really going to see the shoe and, showing up on camera in a uniform shirt.
It's not going to happen, is it?
Yeah, where's the pajamas?
Well, from the waist up, they have to have a shirt on at least, right? But yeah, I think the fear is something that you want to talk about. Like, how do we overcome that fear when everything is like topsy-turvy? We don't know what's happening from day to day.
Well, the first thing that I would look at, right, is to number one, really turn towards the fear. What is it that you're afraid about, right? Getting really clear about, is it just the inconsistency? And if that's what it is, how do we create a little bit of stability, something a little bit more predictable, right? Mm-hmm. And even in that, what's the big why on how we're moving forward, right? There's a ton of opportunity in this time to homeschool your kids, but we're so focused on what we can't have, right, that we're used to, that we sometimes forget to look at the other side. What's the possibility in this? What's the gift in this? For me, if it's okay to talk about my past a little bit, right? Yeah. So in high school, really, really, really long time ago, before technology, I was in a position where I had a choice on what I wanted to do for school. And what I ended up doing was a program called independent study, which is what is a lot like homeschooling today, right? Okay. Without the technology. And what I can say in my experience of that, for me, it gave me an opportunity to really see some of the challenges my parents had, the challenges I had, right? And a ton of gifts out of that. I was able to graduate 6 months early with high honors in this program while focusing on something that I wanted to do as a career. I was going to beauty college full time. So not only was I able to succeed at school, I was also able to succeed and pass my boards before I was 18. All of this before I was 18. Now, granted, the school that I went to was put in place for professional students, right? So they were dancers, singers, people that had, equestrian riders. I mean, I can't even tell you all the, actors, people that couldn't be in traditional school, but provided a structure for them to get their education. So having been in that space, there's a lot of, there's some flexibility. There's a lot of accountability, right? Learning how to be responsible, right? My parents were not good at helping me. And that's the thing, right? So, I mean, I saw it from their side. I saw their frustration. Mm-hmm. And being as a student, trying to figure out some of these things, I had a great counselor. And because of the situation, I learned things that I would not have learned being in a different situation. So there are some gifts, but again, understanding the challenges. And I had the beautiful opportunity to homeschool my daughter when we moved overseas. And so she was able to keep up with her class. We had a lot of, again, challenges, again, from me as a parent, having my frustrations like, oh my gosh, how do we do this, right? How am I going to make this work? How am I going to get her to get her, right? How am I going to get her schoolwork done, right? Mm-hmm. And so it brought up a lot of questions about, what about this is really important? And how can I stop feeling like the unheard sergeant getting shouty with my kid? And how can I actually make this fun? Give her space, but also take care of me so I can be the best mom and facilitator instead of the teacher. Maybe there's some things I can teach. Maybe there's some subjects I'm just really not good at. But how can I resource myself? How can I, call in some and collaborate with others to help?
I need to interject here because
go ahead.
I'm all about collaboration. Okay, so if I was a mother right now asking to be homeschooling my children on math, and I'm like, no, I would want to get a hold of some other mothers who had the skills that I didn't, and maybe do some Zoom together. What about that?
Absolutely. It's a fabulous, fabulous idea. And that's, one of the things that I was actually talking to some other parents about you've got these kids, they're in a classroom. So there's other parents. You've probably known the parents for a while. So everybody is good at something, right?
Right.
And sometimes we don't even know that we're really good at it until we get the opportunity to try it out, right? And we see, well, that worked really well today. And wow, I'm noticing that this didn't work so well. But if instead of like getting in the upset and the anger and the fear of it, getting in that space of curiosity, how can I make this work better? What would have made that better for me? What would have made that better for the students, right?
Yeah.
So being able to collaborate,
If you think about traditional schools, a lot of professors are asked to teach classes they've never even heard of before. Just because they're a professor and they can teach, they have a degree, they're asked to teach things that they are not an expert in. But they go and learn it, and then they turn around and teach it, or they're reading from a book, and they're teaching the lessons that way. So I don't think the fear really should be on whether you're an expert or not. We were talking about that this morning, weren't we, Lady Lou?
Yes, because experts sometimes in my mind, it used to mean, oh, they have a fancy degree or they've been doing it for 20 years. But it's really not. It's what you know, your knowledge, your wisdom. That's the expertise. Yeah. So it can be there whether you have a degree or have a certificate in anything. But if you're just good at math or algebra or whatever, teach it.
Oh, I bet you a lot of tutors are very busy right now.
Yeah, it's very possible. Well, they're going to be. They're going to be because we're not quite in the school year yet. But we're going to be.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes. So if you're a tutor, you need to get out there and hand out your card to every parent that you know.
That's a work from home job.
Hey,
and you can get paid to do that.
That's right, Lady Lou. Good going. We have a work from home show every Monday at 12. So we're giving people opportunities to think outside the box on, creating their own business and creating their own side hustles and that type of thing. And so that's another one we need to add to our list of things that you could do, because it's not just math. What else do you homeschool children about?
Oh my goodness. It's English, history, science, and there's
home economics.
Well, what about for the little kindergarten kids? Maybe you know how to do little crafty things with popsicle sticks and glue and craft paper. You could teach the little bitty ones, because this little 7-year-old my nephew is the brightest thing I've ever seen in my life. At 7. She would eat up that. She comes over here and watches YouTube kid videos. I go to sleep. She keeps doing this to me. Wake up. Put me to sleep. But she would eat this stuff up if you had a craft show. Teach them how to make something fun and sell it to the parents and keep the kids busy for 30 minutes or an hour. And you could make money doing it.
Hey.
Yes, unless they were into music, taking out all your pots and pans and having a kitchen symphony, right?
Well, maybe not you could do quiet, that too. The parents might not like that one. But I dragged out an old electronic piano that I have. I've had it for years. It's been tucked away in a bedroom. And she and I were back there. She's looking for something to do. She was bored and she knows that bedroom's full of stuff. And I said, why don't I bring that piano out for her? It's just a keyboard, electric. And she had the best time making all kinds of noises with that, because it's got drums and it's got chimes and then the keyboard. Oh, she just went crazy over it. So it's stuff like that. Maybe you could teach what ABC on the keyboard and learn how to make a little song.
Those are out there. Those are out there.
That's a paying job.
Janette, I want to ask you, are the homeschooled children's parents required to teach them certain things during this 4 months of, homeschooling?
So it's my understanding that the teachers still have a very active role in, especially public school, right? In with the students. So they have set up time to be with the kids online. The challenge is the areas where kids don't have access to technology, or maybe they've been given a laptop, but they don't have really good internet, right?
Oh.
And so the thing is it's not necessarily the parent's responsibility to teach a subject, but with anything as a parent, right? We're here to help guide our kids. We're here to help nurture their growth, their development. And, so this is a time to really kind of think about what kind of relationship you want to have, right? And so it's not so much about being the teacher. Yes, you could teach them something, but I think some of the best teaching we can do, if we want to put it in those terms, is really our own modeling as parents about kindness, right? Compassion, empathy, seeing when your child is struggling and listening, deep listening to them, right? And also having, as an adult, someone that can listen to you or bounce things off of when you just need to vent, right? I mean, the closets are good places sometimes, right? But having a person to talk to is like, this is a struggle. And really noticing, what is it that you need, right? What are you feeling and what do you need in this, So the subjects and the topics and all of that, yes, we can guide our kids, right? If we don't have an answer, how good are we at resourcing for ourselves? And how can we model that for the kids? I mean, the skills that these children have an opportunity to learn that is even beyond, outside of the box of the classroom, right? It's a huge opportunity for parents.
Yes.
To have a relationship that they choose to have with their kids and guide them.
Yeah, and a lot of parents, my nephew works in a school district that has a very small tax base, so they don't have a lot of money in that area. It's a rural area, a lot of farmers and things like that. So the tax base is just very tight. And when COVID hit back in the spring, they had to go and buy computers, laptops for a lot of their students who did not have laptops. So, the kids didn't know how to use them unless they'd been using them in school, and some of them had learned how to use them. But they didn't have internet out at their house in the country. So they had to pay for the hotspot. And then they had 5 kids in the family with one computer. So they had to share that computer. And the parent probably never saw a computer up close. So how are they going to help their children learn?
Right, it's a challenge, and these are things that the school has been trying to address, how to educate the kids, educate the parents. So it's not just the kid anymore, right? Yes. It's keeping everybody in the loop. So those are challenges that definitely require some creative solutions.
Oh boy!
And the thing is that I know that we have the technology now, but in spaces and places where we don't have the technology or it's not working optimally for us, homeschooling can still be very successful without that. Uh-huh. So in the example that when I moved to Europe, right, and my daughter was in 5th grade, and we had already paid for her private school tuition, but we were only supposed to be overseas for a few months, and I didn't want her to lose her spot at the school, right? Well, we ended up being over there almost the entire school year. But the school provided me with books. We had weekly, just a check-in chat with her teacher. We were able to, fax, right, the homework in so the teacher could look at it. So there's ways, or if you're in close proximity, you have a check-in with the teacher. You pick up the books, you pick up the homework, you pick up the work packet for that week. You have a packet that you turn back in, right? There's ways of doing this that isn't technology dependent that can still allow the parent and the student to be successful. And it's just really, having that, the communication is vital, right? With the school, with the teacher. And again, it's that relationship with the kid, right? If they see you freaked out, how good is this going to be for them, right? And I'm not, there may be times when we, seriously, we may need to fake it.
Fake it till you make it.
But there is a possibility of really making this situation fun, whether you have the technology, whether you have the connection or not. You'll have a program one way or another. And, if the parent can support making this fun for the child, this could be a great experience for everybody.
Yes. And from experience, knowing the trials and tribulations my nephew and his wife have gone through all summer, they have not had their summer off this year. They've been busy on the computer doing Zoom classes, not classes, but Zoom meetings with the principal and, whoever's in the education field. And 1 week before, a week ago, let's put it down, this is what, the 5th or 6th of August, a week ago, his school district, I don't know if it was through the state, they changed the software that the teachers and the students use. And the teachers had all put their homework, their assignments, their lesson plans were already on this other software that they'd been using for 3 years. And now all of this has disrupted every teacher in the country or the state. They have to switch it over to the new software, but they have to learn the software too. And then they have to teach it to the kids. It's been a nightmare for the teachers. So give the teachers some slack. They're going through a real tough time.
Yes. And right, there's a structure to this, but I think that, when we can bring in a little bit of flexibility and especially the humor. Yeah. Right. It'll help us get through this.
Yes.
And again, noticing what the feelings are, what are they and what do you need in that, right? To make a difference, to make a shift, to make it somehow more enjoyable, right?
Yes. It's amazing what has gone on in the last, it's been like March, April, May, June, July, last 5 months with this COVID thing. It has turned our world, not just our country, but our world upside down. We don't know what to do. And a lot of us have reverted to the fear, thanks to the media. But it is something we have to definitely be aware of and be careful. We don't have to just walk around without a mask and blow on people or whatever, or cough on them. So it's a thing that we have to be aware of, that we take care of ourselves while we're taking care of our children. And then we have to support the teachers in this instance, because that's where the work is. The teachers have the load, and it's a double load if they have to send the kids. Some kids are going to go to school because the parents have to go to work, and school is the babysitter, which is the way it's been for centuries. The school was the babysitter. So what are parents to do if their kids have to stay home and they're in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade? You don't want to leave those little kids at home. You have to have somebody watch them. Who's going to watch them? The grandparents are isolated in their home trying to stay safe. They don't want to go over there, or there's not a babysitter available that would go into a stranger's home now. So we've got challenges.
Absolutely challenges. And, we've had the daycares that provided assistance, and then we had issues with the daycares. So it provides some big questions, right? And if we meet that with the fear and the upset, we're not going to be in a space to find a solution.
Right.
So
each of us, not just the teachers, but the parents and the students, the older students especially, they have to help with the solutions. They've got great ideas, the parents and even the older students. They say, hey, what if we did this? So get everybody involved and try to share this experience, because it is an experience that we weren't looking for, and try to make the best of it, and have the wherewithal to say, we're going to make it. Marian's back. She's on her day job, so we have to excuse her occasionally when clients call or come in.
That wasn't what happened. My laptop died.
It did.
I forgot to plug it in. It's like, oops.
Oops.
That's all right.
It happens. But anyway.
I think one of the things, is that compassion, right?
Yes.
Having compassion for yourself, right? How can you show up the best homeschool parent that you can be? Well, it might require proper sleep. It might require that, you have that quiet time when you need it and take it, that self-care, right? It may mean that, we make sure that we're eating healthy food and that people aren't, getting upset because they're hungry or things like that. Taking the breaks that we need to take. And also, we do like structure.
Yes.
Even if it's a base, just a loose structure, right? Having that matters. So we can kind of make sense of our time, make sense of our day. And in doing that on a personal level in our homes, it helps to just make a little bit more sense of the world.
Yeah.
Right.
I know. Yeah. My nephew's little 7-year-old. She's been, she was I think she went to kindergarten, 2 different layers of kindergarten because she was so bright. And then last year was her first grade. And of course, in March, school was gone. I mean, she didn't have any structure again, and she didn't know what to do. She was up a creek, and the parents were terribly busy with learning the online school from home, that kind of stuff. And she has spent an entire summer on her own. And she's a kid. She wants attention. She wants people to do things. I have become her playmate. At 75, I'm her playmate. And we have had the best time. I've loved it. I'm not saying anything against it. I've loved it. I've learned more from that little kid than you can imagine, because I didn't raise children. I've never seen kids grow up. So this is an experience. But she needed that structure. She needed her little friends. She needed to spend time at the Y in the swimming pool, which is what her summers always looked like. She didn't have any of that. So don't you know she's climbing the walls trying to figure out what to do with herself? So school's coming back, parents. Listen, you are the one who will have to make this structure for them. And I know that's not your bailiwick. That's the teacher's bailiwick when they're at school, because they've got bells that tell you when the class is over and when it begins. So you're going to have to create that structure for these children, and it can be done. So I wish you luck. I'm glad I'm not in that.
Yeah. One of the other things I just wanted to quickly mention, especially for the older kids that have, defined, subjects that they need to do. One of the awesome things about being homeschooled or schooling from home is that you don't have to break out the topics, like 5 topics a day. You can spend a day working on 1 or 2 topics for the entire week. And actually, I've seen other kids do this too. They learn more and retain it better when they do block sections of their topics. And that's one thing that's really helpful. And then, as the parents, being able to take that topic and help their student, their child, see how it relates to the world. So again, that reinforcing, sometimes we think that things, why are we learning that? What's the importance of that, right? But when the child can see application in that, the benefit of that, again, it just anchors that learning in more. So can be done really successfully.
It works if you work. Now tell us, you have a little complimentary offer for folks. Would this be appropriate for them to call and talk with you about their fears of homeschooling?
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Yes. I am so happy to offer a 20-minute chat. Just come and connect with me. And, it's good to have someone else to bounce ideas off of. Right.
Amen.
And so I am here for you. I hear, the good, I love to hear the good things, the challenges, and, help the parents step into some creative solutions.
Wow.
Right. To help them tap into that. So I am here. There's a link that you provided, I believe, so they can set up a time if they'd like to chat. And I look forward to hearing.
Below, you'll see the link. Or you can, on the screen right now, you'll see her email. theholisticmuse@gmail.com. But feel free to come to YouTube or Facebook and see the description down below, and that has all the links that you might need.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you for joining us. This was wonderful. I knew it would be a hot topic, and I knew it would be something that we needed to hear.
Oh, it was so good. Thank you very much. Because this is something so many of us are challenged with, and you have some answers. You've been there and done that. So that makes you the expert. And I see you creating a course for parents.
Well, I don't know about an expert, but I will definitely say I was a survivor. I survived myself. I survived my kid, right?
Yes,
and
yes.
I actually work with other foster youth that are transitioning from care, and so, you know, helping them understand what they need to do at this point, right? To move on and move through into their life. So, yeah, I am here. I would love to hear from anyone who would love to connect with me. And
Yes.
thank you so much for having me on today. It's been lovely chatting with you both.
We appreciate you so much, Janette. Thank you. And thank you to our audience. Check us out on Facebook and YouTube under Natural Curiosity, and send us some comments or some different questions. We'd love to hear from all of you. Thank you again for being here, Janette, Marian, and I'm Lady Lou, the Baby Boomer Babe. We love you all. Bye for now.